Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Qapita's LinkedIn Live. My name is Amit, and today I'm joined by a really special guest to talk about driving innovation in Indonesian's tech ecosystem. Today I'm joined by Sufian Adhi Kusumah Dinata, who is a head of unit at Indonesia Stock Exchange. Sufian, really good to see you again. I know we managed to catch up in Jakarta, so many thanks for finding some time to join us today remotely. How are you?
I'm fine, Amit. Good to catch up with you too.
Yeah, awesome. So look, we have about 30 minutes today to touch on a very broad topic of what's happening in Indonesia's ecosystem in terms of tech and innovation in generally. We'll talk about, the private markets, the listing space, and the potential prospects for the future that the country holds. But I would love to get to know you a little bit better, especially for the benefit of our audience today, who is joining from Indonesia, Singapore, Southeast Asia, Australia, India, and even the rest of the world. So a pretty diverse group of people who've registered. And so I'd love for them to get to know you a little bit better. Would you mind telling a little bit about your career so far and the work you do at the Indonesian Stock Exchange at the moment?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So my name is Sufian Adhi. Currently, I'm in charge of potential issuer development too at the Indonesian Stock Exchange. So basically, my day-to-day job is like spearheading the outreach functions for the exchange, in which we conduct event, seminar, workshop for the potentials by engaging with like business associations or like banking industry and other maybe services firm that has a base of clientele. And we also like help doing one-on-one meetings with the potential issuers of IDX. So basically, we discuss about any potential issuance from shares, bonds, up until maybe securitization of the product. So regarding my career here at IDX, I pretty much end up where I'm right now. So I'm starting with the firm back in 2016, doing an MT program, and doing my first rotations. I'm being put in this role. So yeah, I haven't moved since. So this is pretty much what I've been doing.
Yeah, no, awesome, and obviously, got exposure to different aspects of operations, and I think for that reason, I'll be curious to hear about your kind of macro view on Indonesian tech system. So let's start there. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about how you've seen the ecosystem in Indonesia on the tech space evolve over the years? What are sort of common notable trends or innovations, or maybe some success stories you've seen in the last couple of years that you would love to share?
Okay. So yeah, we've been monitoring, like observe the private market activities, especially for the tech and tech-based company here in Indonesia, and the growth has been surprised us, in which there are many private equity and venture capital-backed company currently operate here in Indonesia as the market. And for the public market perspective, as you might already know, we've welcomed like GoTo in 2022, I believe, and also like Bukalapak in 2021, and also like BB. But yes, we haven't seen any PE VC back company coming to the market. But yeah, we've discussed a lot of them, and they've shown interest to be listed with us like in the upcoming year. So yeah, currently. We are, as an exchange, of course, we are preparing the platform for them in the upcoming years. What are their needs, and what we can provide. Maybe we can balance between those things to give them like a proper market venue for them to release here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you've done, like as I mentioned, a pretty good job, attracting some of the, top companies to list domestically in Indonesia. Would you mind sharing some thoughts on kind of the listing prospects you see at the moment for Indonesian market? I guess especially in private markets, it hasn't been the easiest of time for many companies. How do you see the current environment playing out, and for companies who are considering to, IPO and list on IDX?
So yeah, I mean, currently we're already entering March, nearing April. So internally, we've seen like lots of incoming company going to list using the December financial report. So yeah, on that side, we have strong pipeline. And also looking back, we already like 6 years consecutively as a number one in Asian for listing venue
Mhm.
in terms of destination. So,
Yes.
but um, but then again, we've also seen in this past 3 years, 8 out of 10 IPO that conducted the biggest IPO here and there in IDEX is conducted between the 3 past years. So that proves our market is resilient enough, robust enough to handle and absorb big IPO. I think in terms of the potentials connecting to the private market, right? The
Mm.
private market phenomena currently we are seeing. Uh, the potential for us, we need to expand ourselves in terms of the foreign list because I don't
Mm.
know if you're familiar or not. Our current regulations doesn't allow Indonesian or foreign entity to be listed with us right now, but we are looking into that. So we see that as a potential in which we can expand our listed company into the region, say. And also the challenge with the rapid increase of the listed company, of course there will be different, I would say, different range of company that coming to list with us. So in a way, we have to keep the balance between the market accessibility while maintaining also our stewardship role to the public investor.
Mm.
We have to maintain the quality, not only the quantity of the incoming public companies.
Yep. Now that makes perfect sense, right? And you've touched on kind of the future potential of the market, right? So I would love to hear a little bit more about this. Obviously, Indonesia is quite diverse in terms of the number of industries and great companies that have done a pretty good job the last couple of years. What do you see the most potential in future? Like, what do you see the areas of growth for Indonesian market?
I think from the area of growth, in terms of numbers, right? If we're looking into the numbers of investor per se,
Mm.
our total number of investor currently sitting around like 5 million. In terms of total investors, around like 12 million. In terms of percentage, that barely like I don't know, like 3% or our active population. So uh, on the demand side, we are still need to do a lot of catch up. Uh,
Mm.
Converting from the saving society into the investing society.
Mm.
Uh, and the demography of the existing investor is quite attractive, in which like 80% of the investor is below 40 years old. So
Mm.
same like Indonesia, we kind of have like a bonus demography, in which if we maintain that, if we can put the leverage on that, of course in the future, with the increased number of the investor and also the growth of this current investor, we will reap the benefit going forward. And for the listed company also, even though we already like grow so much in this past 6 years, I believe the number is still pretty small compared to like the full potentials of Indonesia. So, and then in terms of the market itself, currently we are moving into a multi-class exchange, in
Mhm.
which just last year we introduced our carbon exchange, and we also like introduce our alternative exchange for the bond. So yeah, we're still have like a strong pipeline for the product itself. So I think more interesting things will come on our way.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. And look, you kind of touched on a few, aspects that making the Indonesian market quite attractive for investors. And obviously, if you look at the macro data, largest economy in Southeast Asia, the population, the demographic makeup of it that you mentioned, a
Yeah.
lot of access to potential, like, retail investors who are getting interested in this space as well, especially post-pandemic. Are there any other like non-obvious factors you find making companies listing on the exhibit more attractive for investors? Any other factors you think come into play?
Mm, I think in terms of other factor, yeah, we see like in terms of if we compare the listing growth of the primary market
Mhm.
for for other global exchanges. Last year we're the only exchange that growth like 8%. Like in terms of globally, I believe
Yes.
other global exchanges are pretty slow on the IPO side due to many reasons, I believe. But yeah, then again, due to that reason also, we have seen interest coming from overseas
Yes.
company to list with us. I
Mm.
think that's the other factor that currently helping us reach our growth now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So last time we also talked about some of the area that we at Qapita are quite, active in, which is, enabling employee equity ownership within the
Yeah.
companies. So I'd love to ask you a few questions about this to get a better understanding of what you're seeing in the Indonesian market. So, as you're aware, a lot of unlisted companies, some of the listed companies offer equity compensation to their employees and executives. How do you see that playing out, especially in the listed space in Indonesia?
Okay, I think from the listed space perspective, the share ownership program is still isn't quite the norm, I would say. Do Even though as an exchange we do believe and we do support the share ownership program because of course it is aligned the employee interest with the company first and foremost, and also for us as an exchange we also benefited from the increased liquidity by the increased numbers of investors, especially retail, be it the employee. But if you look at the number, the share ownership program by the listed company, if you look into like the numbers of exercise each year, the numbers still quite small, and around maybe like 1% of the listed company do have like a fasting schedule or exercise schedule each year. But if we look into the IPO market, in which
Mhm.
they can do a program such as employee stock allocations, typically different with like ESOP or management stock options program, in which they have scheduled like fasting and exercise. Uh, Employee stock allocations is the employee will be given outright the share ownerships.
Mhm.
We see the number is quite high for
Yep.
IPO, in which
Mhm.
like 18 to 20% of the IPO each year involve a program, such program. So I think, but looking into the private market with the increase of like typically the PE and VC backed company already such program prior to be listed.
Mhm.
I think as an exchange, we should be preparing for that in
Mhm.
terms of if there's any regulations that we need to revise or maybe introduce to so that we can also adapt with the development of the market itself.
Yeah, no, for sure. This mimics and kind of what we're still also seeing in the market, right? Especially for a lot of VCP backed companies, they're more and more often encouraged to roll out schemes like this to encourage ownership, and then ultimately, as you go through the listing, that will naturally result in predominance of these kind of programs for listed companies as well. Um, One of the challenges we're hearing when we speak with our clients and partners in the Indonesian market is that, like I said, this is still not a very common structure, and it's
Yeah.
not yet well understood. What would you see would be as a key aspect that can help increase education and awareness? Is there something you're seeing in the market that you think would help make this progress a bit more commonplace?
Yeah, I think it's just about time, right?
Mm,
And as an exchange, we also want to contribute more. I want to
mm,
educate more to our listed company that
mm,
this thing exists. Like a share ownership program would not only benefit us as an exchange in terms of the liquidity, but will also benefit you as the listed company and the employee to be have aligned interests, right? And I think with the increasing numbers of the company that will come
mm,
in the next upcoming year, we'll see like the increased numbers of such program being applied in a publicly listed company, then the rest will follow. I do believe in that. So I think the effort that we can help is maybe do like an educations for them from the company sides, from the employee sides. But yeah, but there are also many measures that we can introduce, be it from the education sides, or maybe we can introduce some kind of regulations that we can like boost the penetrations of the employee ownership program.
Yeah, and what you mentioned is spreading education, supporting, which I think you do quite a lot. So I know you organize a lot of various ways for potential companies looking to list to get access to information about listing, about employee equity, and everything like that. Would you mind sharing maybe a little bit some of those kind of initiatives or that you organized recently that is helping potential companies looking at listing at DX and how they can benefit from that?
Yeah, I think in terms of initiatives, like we conduct many events with various parties. So on the level of awareness, up until maybe like on assistance, I would say, but not in a way we delve into the deal itself, but in the form of maybe a more advanced material, I would say. So yeah, in terms of employee equity or a share ownership program, we typically like also introduce to them that in the case of IPO, you can conduct like employee stock allocation program, right? And then after that, going forward to align the interest, then you can use the management and employee stock option to not only align, but you can quote unquote like retain the top talent of your company so that they will not move anywhere because they have the vesting schedules of the program itself. So yeah, for this year's we've conduct event with parties. So in the future, if we can also contribute to Qapita in the missions of introducing this share ownership program to the listing company, it'll be pretty much welcome for us.
Yeah, awesome. That's great to hear. I would also love to kind of talk about the overall process, because in our audience, we have some early stage Indonesian startups as well, who may be early on in their journey, and maybe the listing is not around the corner, but maybe a few years down the track. Well, do you have any sort of advice for these kind of early stage companies? What should they start thinking about or preparing? So when the time comes and opportunity is there for them to list, so they're better prepared to do so as well. Maybe like what was the preferred timeline for you to engage with new prospects that may want to list on IDX?
Okay, I think in terms of the timelines, it's pretty depends. You can I mean we've engaged, or you can engage with us as early as you want. Even we've engaged with a company that just coming out of like seed or maybe like pre-series A, and it's not a it's we're very welcoming in terms of relationship built upon that, because then again we are not targeting them after they're meeting us, like we're not targeting them to be list like as soon as they can, but we're trying to build a relationship in which first and foremost we give them awareness of our market, and then how the process going to be here at IDX, who the parties that they should be dealing with, like the securities company, the local maybe like auditing firm, and etc. And then if they're want to take a step further, or maybe they just come back like years down the line, it's also okay with us. So feel free to reach out to us to just get to know our market, to get to know the process here in Indonesia. We would love to talk to you, and maybe just like build a relationship, so that maybe if you have any questions about the IDX, then you have the IDX itself to be the person who will answer questions.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's always good to get started earlier, because I guess it's better than leaving it too late. A similar question, but more from the audience outside of Indonesia, who might be just getting introduction to IDX for the first time. I had limited exposure to Indonesia. Maybe not so much from the listing perspective, but If anyone's interested in learning more about the work that IDX is doing and want to get involved and contribute maybe from investment purposes or some other things, what will be the best way for them to kind of get that information about IDX and Indonesian market prospects?
Okay. Yeah, we have like investor development divisions that handles that. So if you are investors from overseas looking to invest here in Indonesia, feel free to reach out to me. Then I'll happily to connect you to them. But then again, we are very frequent in this past year. I think one of our directors program is regional connectivity, in which we are trying to expand globally. Just recent years, so we are actively doing like non-deal roadshows in which not only to bring our listed company to multiple countries, we also like to promote ourselves to the investors. So if there may be some event that are held within your countries, then feel free to reach out to us. But if there's no, then feel free to reach out to me. Then I'll be happy to connect you to the investor development divisions.
Yeah, awesome. And look, I guess that's a pretty good summary of kind of where we stand at the moment, some of the opportunities and challenges. Maybe a couple of final questions looking ahead in the future. And none of us know what the future holds, so no one has a crystal ball. But maybe in your view, not necessarily representative of what IDX thinks, but what do you see kind of Indonesia sort of progressing into the market more broadly from kind of the macro environment as well, or maybe specifically around kind of the listing? Like maybe if we go beyond 2024 and looking years ahead, what would you love to see perhaps happen?
Yeah, as a country, I do believe Indonesia has lots of potentials. I mean, we have great natural resources, and I think the current government is doing really well in terms of promoting that and operating in that area and that kind of things. And in terms of stock exchange itself, I do believe IDX is still in the early age, I would say, in terms of maybe in terms of the products, because the products and trading activities is in IDX is pretty much still plain vanilla. But the growth is really good in this past years in terms of listing. As I was mentioned earlier, we are in the 6 consecutive years in terms of number of listed companies. So we are still seeing that trend to continue. And with the introductions of the new regulations or the new law last year, we are able to like expand our product portfolio. So do expect like introductions of the new product from IDX in the upcoming years down the road. We have a lot of them in our pipelines to be introduced. So yeah, great numbers of listed company, huge potentials, numbers of investors that haven't reached like double digits of percentage from the demography. So we still have a long road to go. I mean, in terms of potential, I think there's so much potential from Indonesia.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that sentiment. One thing you mentioned is the changes that were introduced last year. Maybe not everyone in the audience is actually familiar. Would you mind providing like a high-level summary of this, or for those curious, how they can find more information about it?
Yeah, I think last year law introduced us to expand our business to like the derivatives market, and also like the introductions of bullion bank here in Indonesia allow us to develop such product that haven't been introduced in Indonesia, such as maybe gold ETF and that kind of thing. So there are new product maybe for like developed country or developed capital market that already been introduced, but here in Indonesia it's still quite new. So I think the introduction of that product would be also benefited not only the local investors but the foreign investor that want to invest in Indonesia for that kind of product in the future.
Yep, no, awesome. All right, perfect. So look, that's good. We're just coming up towards the end of today's session, so I have a couple of minutes left. Anyone in the audience, feel free to add any questions in the chat so Sufian can address those while he's here with us. Well, look, so kind of more from your kind of the personal point of view as well. Obviously, you've kind of changed, a few roles, so had different outlook at the current, state of play. What do you think that countries in Southeast Asia can learn from the recent sort of success of IDX? Is there something you think you're actually doing a lot better than some of the other markets? And what do you think are the lessons we've learned from that success that others can learn from as well?
I wouldn't say as much as others can learn from us, but yeah, we do a lot of outreach activities here in Indonesia. So yeah, by doing and I mean like the country itself, the numbers of demography and the numbers of potential issuers, it's already, I mean, going well past our neighbors, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
compared to maybe like Singapore, it's just an island,
Mm,
and we are an archipelago. So
mm,
I think the resources that we have, uh, becoming the main contributor, the main factor for us
yeah.
to reach our current numbers, right? And that top with our outreach activities from the investor sides and from the potential issuer sides. I do believe that's our main drives for our goals.
Mm,
I mean, from the investor side, we conduct like from last year's 80,000 activities across
mm,
Indonesia,
yeah.
and it wouldn't be possible if it's not from the support from the IDX team itself, but from
Mm,
the whole stakeholders of the industry, the securities company that helped us, the
yes.
investor community, the business associations, and all that kind of ecosystem helped us reach our growth numbers.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, yeah, I do like your comment. Like, it's hard to learn from everyone successfully still growing, but I think everyone can learn from each other. Ultimately, we all make mistakes. We do great things as well, and collaboratively, then that's how we can achieve more. Look, Sufian, I really appreciate your time. That was super helpful and really good insights into Indonesia, especially for those in the audience who haven't learned much so far up until today's conversation. Um, is there any final comments, remarks you wanted to make for anyone who joined us today? What will be the best way for them to keep in touch with the progress or reach out to you, or any advice or suggestions? Any final closing comments you would love to share?
Okay. First of all, thank you, Amit and Qapita, for inviting me for the sessions. I think, as a closing remark, that I would like to conclude: if you're a potential issuer, or even like haven't been planned or decide where to list, feel free to contact us here at IDX. We have several numbers of teams that could help you like learn our market, learn our process, maybe discuss what we can help you, what we can support you in your journey. So it doesn't need to be like directly once you meet us, you have to be list. No, we can build upon our relationship, or we can go down the years, and then if you are like a startup, especially, we have IDEX incubator. So if you like a more structured program for you to know, for you to know our market, to know our ecosystem, our stakeholders, we can help you enroll in that program, so that you can get more structured informations. But feel free to reach out to us for any inquiries about the listing process of the IDEX.
No, I appreciate it. That's super awesome, and very nice to see you're open to talking to more organizations. So we definitely do recommend everyone to reach out to learn more. And next time in Indonesia, you can always try to grab Sufian for a coffee, and I'll definitely do that next time I'm in town. Look, with that in mind, so thank you very much for joining us today, and thanks everyone in the audience for tuning in. That was another edition of Qapita's LinkedIn Live. Today we talked about driving innovation in Indonesia's tech ecosystem with Sufian from IDX. Sufian, thanks very much, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, Amit. Catch you next time.